Hi guys! So today's video is going to be all about brushes and tools that I use it on my daily basis, whether on myself or on a client. I want this video to be very informative and very in-depth, so I have a lot of brushes in front of me. I have a lot to talk about. Some of them are drugstore, some of them are high-end, and some of them were sent to me, but this is not a sponsored video. These are my personal preferences and personal opinions. I really have favorites when it comes to brushes. If I find something that works for me, I would never ever let go until I find something else, obviously, because there's always so much new stuff coming out. But these are just my brushes that I just use it on a daily basis. They're on my brush holders, clean and ready to use at all times. So I am going to follow an order as if I was doing a full face of makeup. And I'm going to try to insert some clips to a few of the brushes, not all of them, because then this video would be 10 hours long, but I wanted to show a few demo clips so you see them in action per se. So first I want to talk about a flat foundation brush. And the reason why I love this brush is because it has so many different uses for it. So not only you can apply foundation with this brush, you can also apply primer, which is what I use the most when I'm doing a client, as opposed to using my hands, because if it's myself, I don't really care. I use my hands because it's one less brush for me to wash. But if I'm doing someone else, I think it's a little bit more proper to use a brush. So that's what I use this brush for. Also, I use this to apply facial masks. So it just makes it very like an even application, so you don't have to sit there for like a half an hour, or like there's no like thicker spots than the others, you know what I mean? So this is just such a versatile tool. I think everyone should have one. When it comes to applying foundation, I like these three guys right here in no particular order. So the first one is the Morphe M439, which is so talked about all over YouTube, and it really is such an amazing foundation brush because not only you can stipple the foundation onto your skin, but you can also buff it. So it's really perfect, and it's not that expensive, and it's something that if you take care of it, it's going to last you for a long time. I've had this brush for at least a year and it's still exactly the same. So this one is the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush, and it has a very peculiar shape to it. It's kind of like flat and pointy at the top, which is really perfect to get in every single corner of your face. I love this one just as much as my Morphe. I don't see like a crazy difference, to be honest with you, but it's just something that I rotate between the two of them the most. If one is dirty, then I'll grab this one. If this one's dirty, then I'll grab the other one. So I really like this one as well. Then if you want a drugstore option for a good foundation brush, I'm sure there's like a million, but my personal favorite is the Real Techniques Sculpting brush, which it's not really meant to be a foundation brush, but this really does a great job at at applying foundation all over the face. And also, just like the last one, I love it because you can get in between your brows if you do your brows first, or if you're a person that does eyes first and then move on to the skin. This is amazing. So, and it really gets in every little corner around the nose and whatnot. So this is a really good option from the drugstore, and it's just about 10 bucks, I believe. And then the last way I love to apply my foundation is using a beauty blender. I have so many of these because I keep a few of them only to use on other people, and I keep a few of them just to use it on myself, just in case, because even though I wash them thoroughly, I just prefer to have a few for myself, and I mix and match with my other brushes that I use on other people. If you want a little bit more of a natural finish and an extremely flawless application, the Beauty Blender is amazing. I'm sure everybody knows that, but I just wanted to reinforce it because it really does make such a difference. I know there's a lot of different sponges out there, and I have tried a few. I do like the Real Techniques sponge, but I don't think there's nothing quite like the Beauty Blender, to be honest with you. I know it's a little bit of an investment, but if you really take care of it and you don't rub it off and like, you know, you can be a little rough with these, because I do wash them. Like I said, when I use them on other people, I have to wash them like extremely thoroughly, because it's just hygiene is number one. But they do really quite hold up pretty well, even though if you wash them very often, and you should you know, if I'm using them on myself, my personal beauty blenders, I wash it every time I do my makeup, so I don't really let the product sit there for too long. So these guys are amazing. So I love these guys to apply my foundation and my concealer, which brings me to the next category. Aside from the beauty blender, this brush right here is my absolute favorite for the under eye concealer. This is a Morphe G2, and because it's not a sponge, so it's not gonna soak up any product, this is amazing. It really gives you a flawless application. And if you want a little bit more of a fuller coverage, using a brush like this will give you that flawless full coverage under eye concealer, because when you use a sponge, remember it's a sponge, so it will soak up some of your product. But when you use a brush, especially if it's like synthetic hair, it's not going to soak up so much of your product. So this right here is amazing. Continuing around the eyes, I love this guy right here to prep my eyes and to go over the very little corners as well. This is the Sigma 3 HD Precision brush, and it's the same shape as the big one. It's the same shape as the big one, so it really is slanted on the sides and then pinched and flat on the top. So this is perfect to prime. I love priming my eyes with this, or if I'm doing someone else's makeup that really, you know, you want to get it on the very little corners, so you want something very precise that won't bother their eyes. So this is an amazing brush for that as well. So when it comes to powder brushes, I don't really have a lot, because I don't really love to set my whole face with a powder. I have very dry skin, so I don't necessarily need it. It depends on what kind of foundation I'm using. If I'm using a very matte foundation, I most likely won't need powder to my entire face, just the under eyes obviously. But I like this one. This is the Morphe E3, and I think this is a blush brush, to be honest with you, but I like it because it's small and it's fluffy, and it's just perfect for a very light application. So then normally I would move on to brows. So for brows, if I'm using a brow pomade, like a dip brow or whatnot, I like this one. This is from Sephora, and this is the Angled Liner number 15. I'm not even kidding. This is probably at like almost, I want to say this is almost 10 years old. I like this to do my brows. I don't know. I have tried so many different brow brushes, and I keep coming back to this one. And I like this because it's small and it's not too long, so I can be super precise. If I'm working with powders, I like this guy right here, and this is also from Merle Norman. It's just like a very it's an angled double-sided brush with a spoolie on the other side, and it's just perfect. It makes it really easy to just dip it on your product, apply it, turn it around, brush it off, and you keep going. And then to sculpt my brows, this is also from Merle Norman, and it's just like a small flat concealer brush, but it really does a great job at like getting right there and cleaning up and sharpening my brows. So moving on to contouring, and I'm a person who likes to stick with powders when it comes to contouring, because I'm not very comfortable with cream products yet. I feel like I can nail my contour with powder at any time. So for that, I use these two brushes right here. This one, I've had it for a long time, and I purchased this probably, I want to say at least a year ago or a year and a half ago. So this is the Morphe M530, and I know it's like a little weird shaped brush to contour because it's fluffy, but it really does a precise application, and it helps it blend and get rid of those harsh lines. So I love this one for all around contour, like my temples and my cheekbones, this is an amazing brush. And then the second one was something that was sent to me not that long ago, but I have not put this brush down since the day I got it. I am so obsessed with it. And this is a Sigma Soft Angled Contour Brush. This makes it so easy to do my contour because you place the product where you want it, and because it's fluffy but still dense, it will get rid of those harsh lines almost immediately. You don't have to do a lot of work with it. So I haven't put this down since the day I got it. I am obsessed with this one. So continue with the contouring. For my nose contour, I like these two guys right here. This is from Coastal Scents, and I don't have a lot of products from them, but I got this brush on an Ipsy bag, I believe, and I just love it. I love it for my nose contour because it gets on this area right between my brow and the bridge of my nose, and it really does such a great job at contouring because it's angled, but it's fluffy enough that it really blends out the lines. I also like this e.l.f. blending brush for the same reason. It's not an angle brush, but it's fluffy and it's kind of like pinched over here. It really does a good job in doing a precise application as well. So this is a good drugstore option for that. So for bronzer, I like to use this guy right here, and this is a Morphe M527, and it's just like a super fluffy brush that does a really good job at just really spreading that bronzer all around. And this is kind of like a dupe for the MAC one. I forget the number of that, but it's a much more affordable version of that. This one sheds a little bit more. The Morphe brushes, they are this with this bristles, they do tend to shed a little bit more than the dark ones, but still I've had this for a long time and it holds up really nicely. The second one is this Benefit brush right here, and it's so freaking cute, first of all, but it's really fluffy and like it just does a really good job at putting the bronzer, just like it doesn't give you any harsh lines. And also it's a great blush brush as well. So speaking of blush, this is my absolute favorite blush brush, hands down. This is a Morphe E3, and it's just perfection. You would just place this on your cheekbone and you blend it with your contour, and it's just perfect. I think this is marketed as a contour brush, I'm not sure, but you know, there's no rules. So for highlighting, I go back and forth between these guys right here, and sometimes if I want to be a little extra, I combine them both. So this is a Morphe fan brush, and this came on a kit that I bought a long time ago. So there's no like specific number or anything, but it's just, I like it because it's very fluffy, and so it gives you that really nice application. But a lot of brands have a fan brush. You don't necessarily need to buy a high-end brush. e.l.f. also has a great fan brush as well, so that's a great option from a drugstore. I love this one right here. This is a Morphe M501, and this is for that very precise, beaming, top of a cheekbone highlight kind of thing. So this is really perfect for that, and also for the nose and the cupid's bow. I love this brush so much. So now moving on to eyes, and when I do my eye primer, I like to set my primer with this guy right here, and this is also from Merle Norman, and it's just like a perfect fluffy but flat and densely packed kind of brush. I would dip it into a skin tone-ish kind of color and just go all the way from my brow bone all the way down my lid and cover my whole entire eye. So I would set my primer, and also makes it a little easier for when I go in with my next eyeshadow. So when it comes to blending brushes, I go back and forth and combine all these guys right here, but these are my 4 favorite blending brushes for the eyes. Normally start with this one, and this is a Morphe M441. This is just a perfect brush to apply that transition shade. There's nothing like this. I love this brush so much. It's perfection. And then I have a newfound favorite, which is the Carry Lou brush, and this is a number 111. And Carrie Lou is someone who I worked with. She's an amazing makeup artist. She's an amazing hairstylist. She does a lot of weddings. She does magazines. She does everything. She was very kind to send me her whole set of brushes, which I would insert a picture right here. This one right here is perfect for blending the crease. It's super soft, and it's similar to my Morphe M433, which I will talk about next. It's just a little bigger. So it's the same kind of drill. I really love this one, and I started using maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I've been using, and I didn't put it down ever since. So I highly recommend this one. And then, like I said, the Morphe M433 is such a good brush. It's a little bit more precise. So when I'm doing, like, when I want to darken my crease, this is what I go with, and it really does a great job at getting rid of those harsh lines and everything. So I highly recommend the M433 as well. Lastly, of course, is the MAC 217. This guy right here, it's probably almost 10 years old. I swear to you, this is such an old brush. I've had this for a long time. It was one of my first purchases at MAC, and I need a new one, but I just can't bring myself to part with this because it's very sentimental. Just good memories from when I just really started loving makeup. So MAC 217 is just a staple. I love this because it's a little bit more precise. So especially when I'm working with darker colors and I don't want to get carried away and end up with, you know, black eyeshadow all the way to my brow bone, this is really good to keep it together and keep it tight. So I love this one, and I know that everyone recommends it, but it really is an amazing brush. So for eyelid placement, I like this one right here. This is the Sigma E25, the blending brush. And this is so good for when I want to put a certain color, like I did today, on the very outer corner. And really is a perfect shaped brush for that outer corner placement. And it's also a great blending brush as well if you tilt it the other way. So Sigma brushes in general have such high quality. You can wash them 1,000 times and they won't budge. So this is a great blending brush from them. This one right here for lid placement, meaning from the inner corner until about halfway on your eyelid. So this is perfect for that. And also I've been using a lot of glitters and pigments, and this really picks up the pigment and deposits very nicely. Even though it's a fluffy kind of brush, this is it kind of, because it's flat, it applies the pigment. It grabs onto the pigments and applies them very nicely. So this is the Sigma Medium Sweeper E54. Love this brush. We're almost done, I promise. For lower lash line, I like these guys right here, and I'm gonna tell you why. I have 3. This one right here is an e.l.f. brush. This is called the eyeliner brush. This is flat and precise, and this is perfect for when I want to place a darker shade on my outer corner. This is so affordable. I believe on the website maybe it's $2, I'm not sure, but this is such an affordable brush, and it's perfect for that. If I want to smudge it and smoke out my lower lash line, I have been using this Carrie Lou brush non-stop. This is also the one, this is the number 112. I have very sensitive eyes. My eyes are constantly watering. This brush does not irritate my eyes. I have been looking for a good smudging brush for a long time, and I'm so glad I found this one right here. This is amazing. If I want to keep my lower lash line very soft, but if I want to add a little bit of an eyeshadow to it, I like the e.l.f. crease brush. So I know it's a crease brush, but it's kind of tapered and it's fluffy, and it does such a good job on the lower lash line. I have been using this for my lower lash line for a while now. Again, such an affordable brush, and don't limit yourself. Just because it says crease brush doesn't mean you have to use it just for that. If you find a brush that works for you for whatever it is that you want to do with it, stick with it. It doesn't matter what it says on the labels. Labels don't matter. For my inner corner highlight, I found my perfect brush, and I'm so excited about it. This is also from Carrie Lou, and this is the 114. This is tapered and precise, but also soft. Like I said, I have sensitive eyes, so this doesn't poke my eyes funny and makes them water. So I am in love with this brush. I have been highlighting my inner corner pretty heavily these days, but it's just because I love it. So this one is perfect for that inner corner highlight. Lastly, for eyeliner brush, if I'm working with a gel liner, this right here, this is a Sigma winged liner brush, and it's exactly what it says. It's a perfect brush for a winged liner. Look at how tiny this is. You can't go wrong with this brush. It's so precise. It makes it so easy for you to control that wing. I love this brush. It's absolutely amazing. So that's it for this video. I know this is a very long video, but I wanted to be very informative, and I wanted to break it down to you and maybe help you get a more clear understanding of brushes. I know there's so many brushes out there, and if you're a beginner, they can be a little intimidating and you don't know what to use them for. So I hope this video helped you get a better idea of brushes overall. As always, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, and if you learned something new, please give me a thumbs up because it really helps my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!